Hello, everybody, and welcome to another amazing episode of E2E Expert to Experts, where we bring you the best world's experts in different areas. And I'm so excited today to bring you an expert in an area which is number one, common and familiar to me, where I am also going to be learning from this expert. So today we're going to talk about business and lifestyle performance. So if you are a business owner or you are an entrepreneur or somebody who is a busy consultant, somebody who is getting his hands dirty, okay, in doing something, you may find that sometimes you feel guilty that you're working too much, and you're not taking care of your family, you're not taking care of your body, and sometimes you are trading health for wealth. So you need to have an inspiration, a guidance by an expert who has filled in and checked in all the boxes regarding business performance, regarding lifestyle, regarding family, regarding health and body. So, with no further ado, let me introduce you the one and only expert that I consider also to be my mentor and also a friend, the one and only expert business and lifestyle, Martin Sharp. Hello,
Well, good
Martin.
morning. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Glad to have you. I know that you wake up so early in the morning, and already by 6 a.m., you are already taking care of the most valuable asset that we've got as human beings. Yes or no?
That is absolutely correct. Yeah, that
So,
first couple of hours of the morning, that's for me.
yeah, absolutely. So, thank you for being here with us. And our audience is made of a lot of professionals, business owners, or people who are getting into that direction. And most of the times, you find that you are hustling and pushing and trying to make something, make more than a living, make an impact, create legacy, and do something that is remarkable. But then you get into this bottom line where you feel and you think that things are not at all balanced. So, first of all, you are the founder of Sharp Fit for Life. What is that? And what is the importance of not only having a balanced life, but thriving in all different areas?
Okay, so some really good questions there. And I like the way you say about the concentrate on the bottom line or increasing the bottom line. Because I think for many people, when they start to increase the bottom line inside their business, what actually happens is the line of their bottom gets bigger as well. And as you can imagine, that's not necessarily always a great thing. And it's not through anything specifically that they're doing that causes this to say, I would like to get bigger. I would like to, become unhealthy. I would like that's not like a conscious decision. It's just a kind of byproduct of where they are, what they're kind of doing, and how they're doing things. And that's exactly kind of what happened to me, when I was starting to set my own business, when I was working with my young family, etc., and getting things kind of done. All of a sudden, you take a back seat because you're not the most important thing in your life at that point in time, and it's normal. A lot of people go through this because we've got a lot of hustle that's kind of going on in the world. There's kind of this expectation, especially as men, that you've got to be out there. You've got to be like the breadwinners, bringing things home into the family to support the family and to make sure that's going okay. Then there's the more kind of social pressure on actually being a great father and being able to help your family grow and having those great experiences with that you want to do as well. Because actually that's what it's about, having that magic moment with that family that you're kind of creating and growing. And then you've got the whole pressures at work with regards to, do more with less money, so therefore you've got to put more effort in to be able to bring more out of it. So from your perspective, to actually bring things home, so you've got all these different kind of societal pressures, business pressures, family pressures kind of coming in on you, and something has to give. And the natural thing there is that you kind of you are the one that kind of gives, because you concentrate on trying to be the best father, the best husband, the best manager, developer, organizer, business owner, entrepreneur, whatever it's going to be in that kind of space. And when you get to that kind of position, it's a bit like the old boiling the frog scenario. You don't realize that you've been pot in the pot and you've been gently having that kind of heat bringing up, and until you can have that one moment where someone turns around and holds that mirror up to you and says, and for me it was when I was on holiday in Florida with my family, and it was the guy who was letting us onto the incredible Hulk ride in Universal Studios, and he unfortunately had to turn around and say, "I'm sorry sir, but you're just too big to fit in the seat." You know, when you kind of have that shown at you, that kind of reflection that somebody else has got, somebody who doesn't know you, is not there to be obstructive. It's his job to effectively help you and get you onto this. You suddenly realize actually something needs to change. And until you sometimes have that moment, some people just blissfully go through life just ignoring it. And I was thankful that actually I had that moment where someone sort of stood up to me. I wish that was the actual moment that things changed. Like many of us in life, we like to ignore these things. It's like, oh, it's just this one thing, right? And you kind of go on and try to look at others. But, you know, several of the rides in the Florida area I couldn't fit on. And in the end, it was a photograph that my mum took of me when we were on the monorail between the Magic Kingdom and the car park that actually kind of hit home and says, I have to change, because I literally had boobs bigger than my wife's boobs. So I came back and I said to her, I tried to change, I tried to become something different. So that's the kind of bit where you have to have that realization moment, and everybody has to have it. And for me, I'm hoping that by sharing the story, sharing these kind of inspirational moments, that you don't have to get to be 154 kilos with a 54-inch waist and have those moments where you kind of have that. You don't have to have the brain fog. You don't have to have the fatigue and the tiredness. You don't have to, find it hard getting out of bed in the morning because, you're having to roll over onto your side to be able to just get yourself into place. You don't find it hard to tie your shoelaces and things, and these are real life kind of problems, and that's why when we actually at Fit for Life, we are looking to really help people that are overwhelmed, overworked, overweight, probably busy, hardworking professionals, entrepreneurs, business owners, consultants, people that they're trying to juggle this kind of place of actually doing the great thing they can for their work, their business, their career, while at the same time trying to be this amazing person for their family as well. And the one thing that they need to then start to put back into their life is their life.
And when you talk about performance, okay, one of the common factors with performance is managing level of stress. So you can either manage a high level of stress, so you're a high performer and you make it, you just do it, you make it happen, no matter what, nothing stops you. Or stress can literally devour you and literally destroy you. So what impact does stress have on results in your experience?
Stress is significant, and it's one of the areas that we look at. So we have kind of 6 fundamental strategies that we look into. One of them is around moderation, and inside that, one of the key steps in there is around stress, because it's a significant part of life. Now, one thing a lot of people say is that stress is a bad thing, and they concentrate on the bad parts of stress, the burnout, the fatigue, the tiredness, all those kind of things that happen. But without stress, our body and our life effectively doesn't change. And so there can be these occasions where you actually have good stress. Like, for example, remember when you went to first learn how to drive a car, right? And you kind of get behind the wheel and you're so focused on trying to make it work. You've got all these pedals that you got to push. You've got to get all in sequence. And you get out of that car an hour later, you're exhausted. Your knuckles have gone white because, you've been gripping hold of things so tight. You've been concentrating so much. And that's a version of stress. But when you concentrate on it for the good reason, that after a certain number of lessons, a little bit of practice, etc., you learn how to drive a car. You now have the benefits of being able to travel wherever you want, as long as you're obeying the law, obviously. And it gives you this freedom. And it's a massive amount of freedom that suddenly people have. So as somebody who's got a family, all of a sudden that makes it so much easier. You can now take your family away on excursions. They can start to show them the world so they can experience more. As somebody in business, you're able to travel to clients, etc. You're able to travel to kind of get people to work with you or to actually fulfill on the promises that you made in the first place. You're able to go see family. You're able to go see friends and things. So that stress that you put yourself under for that period of time has allowed you to grow into the person that now has these kind of benefits moving forward. So there is always a positive, but you've got to kind of find it. So when you've got stress, a lot of the problems that people have is they don't have an outlet for the stress that they have in their life. So, for example, when you go into big boardrooms, and one of the things I have noticed a lot more is boardrooms are getting bigger. People in the boardrooms are getting bigger because they're under so much pressure, so much stress, and they're not having something as an outlet to get rid of that. They're not managing or mitigating or accepting some of that stress. And there's some real clear strategies that you can use. In fact, there's a lot of strategies you'll use in business around things like risk management that translate perfectly well in how to manage stress, but you don't always make that connection between the two. So things like the cortisol that builds up inside your body, the adrenaline that kind of gets fueling it, the fact that stress stops you from being able to digest food properly, etc. It stops your body from repairing itself properly. All of a sudden, all these things are kind of building up and happening in your body because you're putting yourself under constant stress. And then you're not taking that physical outlet to get rid of things like the cortisol and adrenaline, to actually utilize them in a more physical way. And then also, for example, not taking the rest to be able to then let the body calm back down and repair itself means that this builds up more and more over time. That's where things like burnout happen. That's where people, they completely are in a position where it's degrading their body. And then they can end up with all sorts of non-communicable diseases and things that can really will affect their life going forwards. I mean, my trajectory, if I'd continued the way I was going, certainly looking at people like my father and my young brother, would have been things like diabetes, fibromyalgia, several bouts of cancer, lost my uncle to pancreatic cancer, who's my father's twin brother. So there's lots of things that could have gone there if I didn't kind of concentrate on that. And again, working with people to say, what's happening in your life? How can we actually take some of that stress, find out which ones are the good bits, how you can utilize them and see what the benefit is going forwards? Because here's the other thing, and this is really, really crazy to get your head around, but it works. When you actually accept the stress and you kind of realize that it has a benefit, your mind suddenly doesn't see it as stress and it automatically starts to relax your body. I mean, how crazy is that? Just simply the thing of actually accepting some of the stress and realizing the benefit is giving you, no longer body creates it as a stress. And things like this can really make a big difference in how people perform, both in business, that's pound notes coming through the business as cash flow and profitability, and also in life, as in, how much you enjoy your life, how much you actually relish things that are going on, and how much you can actually achieve towards your lifestyle aspiration.
Okay. Uh, that's a very good perspective you have just given right now. And I like what it say. Well, I like what you've said about accepting that stress. In other ways, is that stress is meant for you to grow. If you don't accept that growth, it will lead you to suffering and in a long-term pain. Is that correct? Did I get it right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Now, when it comes to emotional stress related to performance, like anxiety, being afraid, and things like that, that may be a negative stress which could lead to cortisol if you don't address it. But what about the physical stress? Is that a positive one when you go to the gym and when you work out and you put your body on that level of stress? Now, you talked about outlets. Now, does it work on the same way? Or now, when you work in the gym, it's good to push the body to that limit, to that stress?
Yeah, it does. I mean, and that's exactly the outlet we're talking about. Is these choosing some form of physical outlet. And if you're not a gym goer, I get it, it's not a big issue. There's so many other ways of doing it. You could choose to go running's a great one of doing it, or hill walking's great for doing things like that. There's also added benefits that you get to change your horizon, which is always good for the mind. Get to have a new perspective on life. You could do things like, for example, one of the guys I work with, he had to take his son to football. His son was a really, really good footballer. So while he was there, he joined in the dad's football team. So that was where that not only did he then start to work his body out physically, but he also had that kind of social setting as well. And all these things kind of really help, because in the moment, while you're working out, while you're in the gym and you're pushing yourself to failure, while you're doing your running and you really kind of, working on increasing your endurance and your performance, while you're potentially walking up a mountain or something and you're just enjoying the views, but you're putting your body under that kind of stress, you will be building up things like your adrenaline, your cortisol, and everything else that goes on with it. But then your body has a way of then, because it's worked out, it increases things like your endorphins, your dopamine, your serotonin, etc. And all these kind of things. These are kind of known as the happiness hormones, and these kind of help to flood inside your system. And because you've worked out and your body feels like it's worked out, so you've activated your sympathetic nervous system at that point, when you stop, you give yourself a chance to relax, which is what most people will do. It's very quick then to start to engage your parasympathetic nervous system. So your rest and your digest, your kind of relaxed state, because we can get to engage our sympathetic nervous system really quickly, our fight or flight response. I mean, literally, we will go from 0 to massively alert in the click of a heartbeat type of thing, and we need that. And it's been there for millennia, the whole of the human species, and in fact many animals have exactly the same response. Because if you've got somebody there or something there that's a potential to give you harm, you've got to make a really quick assessment. Is this a food, a threat, or a mate? Can we eat it? Is it going to eat us, or do we need to hump it? That's the kind of question that kind of comes out of that our body has to make that instantaneous response on. Because if it gets it wrong, suddenly you're lunching, you're no longer able to, perpetuate the species, and that's what it's all about. Whereas getting yourself into that parasympathetic position where you're actually relaxing and calming your body down, that can take quite a long time. So being able to work your body to the point where you are tired and exhausted physically, not just mentally and emotionally, means that you've got a better chance of then getting into that relaxed state. So, for example, and this might resonate with people that are listening, if you've gone out for a long walk, for example, especially if you've gone in the hills and things, you've got all that lovely fresh air, what's usually common is people will come back and they will find a tea room if we're getting a bit older, or a pub, and go for a pub meal or something if you're a bit younger, definitely. And in that moment, you start to just relax. And you sit into that chair and you go, ah. And that feeling, that moment where your breath comes out, your body just relaxes, there's nothing else for you to do. You just got to sit there. You've got to enjoy your cup of tea. You've got to enjoy your pint. You've got to have your steak and ale pie, whatever it is that you're doing at that point in time. Because your body actually relaxes, you become in a relaxed state, and you actually then become better for that moment as well.
That's brilliant. And when I work with corporates or with business owners, I always tell them one thing. I always tell them that your performance is a direct reflection of who you are. Basically, business is a reflection of who you are. Who you are is a reflection of your business. So, working with companies where you help business owners or corporates, and you work with companies which generate easy 7 figures from 6 million above, to you work in projects that were worth about consultation projects that were worth about 16 billion US dollars. Okay, so what is the common pattern between the phrase that your personal performance affects your business performance? Give me 3 common patterns, and how can people improve them or address them?
Okay, cool. That's a brilliant question. And it's interesting when you kind of go into organizations, many organizations kind of miss this one crucial part. That is, they kind of think the organization is an entity in its own right. And on paper, because the whole straw man concept, it is. It has its own bank account, it has its own legal system, etc., and so on. But that organization is fundamentally made up of people. Yeah. And therefore, it has all of the fantastic abilities that people have and also all their foibles straight away. So we've got to remember that the performance of the people that are inside your organization will directly affect the organization itself. Yeah, no matter how small or how large, because
Mhm.
like the old saying, one bad apple can ruin the entire barrel, and this is true in so many organizations. It only starts for one person to start a bad habit that actually starts to spread throughout the entire organization, and it can very quickly unravel. And then organizations could be simple things like I'm working with an organization at the moment. They're facing a 7 and 8 figure fines with regards to how they've been managing data, and now we've got a process in place to help them be able to overcome that. But again, it's all down to that people weren't doing the right things at the right time. And some of that might mean they didn't know, and some of that might mean that actually they did know, but they weren't being told to do it, or there was no instructions to do it, or there's no reason for them to effectively do these things. So people is the number one thing that affects your business. And when you look in most organizations, a significant slice of that revenue stream that's coming in is actually given to the people that work in there, because that is probably one of the biggest significant costs. And as organizations, we're there to serve people inside their organizations and outside their organizations, build that kind of trust model up. So that's the first part. You've just got to realize that people it's the asset you have inside your organization. You treat them right, and then everything starts to work right. So then once you've kind of got that principle, that concept, that kind of real core value at the heart of the organization in place, then you can start to look at how do we then start to affect how people perform, how people work. And it comes down to really simple things like having a happier and healthier workforce, right, just makes sense. So if we look at it from the point of view of absenteeism and presenteeism, so when you've got people that are stressed, they're overworked, they've got lots of worries, etc., they don't know what they're going to do about things, they're not concentrating on what they need to be doing. And also what it does is it actually puts them under even more pressure. So because their body's not repairing itself on a regular basis, they become more ill. And that's the easy one to spot, because then they go off sick, and you can start to track that in absenteeism side. The presenteeism is a bit more different, because that is people that are coming to work, they look like they're doing the job, but they're not doing the job. Yeah, and this can go under the radar for weeks, months in some organizations. For some big corporates, it can go on for years. Right. And at that stage, it's like, well, okay, well, how do you kind of manage and measure those type of items? So just working on the fact that keeping people happier and healthier, so that actually they don't feel overworked, they don't start to feel overburdened, overstressed, or when times are stressful, you've got a way that they can have an outlet to be able to get that stress out there. That's probably the first thing. The second part is looking at how long people are doing things for. Because again, there's a massive kind of toxic societal kind of thing at the moment, and it's been around for decades. It's not a new thing, where the number of hours that you work is seen as a badge of honor. I work my 14 hours a day. How amazing is that? But when you actually go into some organizations, you look at how productive those 14 hours are. It can be dreadfully unproductive. I've seen organizations where literally the people might be in for 12, 14 hours, but you'd be lucky if you get maybe 4 hours of actual work out of them, because of all the other things that's going on. Plus, most people have a kind of a limit of usually somewhere between an hour and 90 minutes where they can focus on things. Anything more than that, then straight away they start to become unfocused, which means it takes them longer to do the same piece of work. So all of a sudden, if you start looking at how do you actually monitor and moderate some of that kind of work that people are doing, and including yourself, because the responsibility for your health and fitness starts with you. There's nothing better than you actually being responsible for what you're doing. But by taking the regular breaks, by actually taking a look at what you're doing, making sure that you're getting outside, making sure you're actually exercising on a regular basis each and every day, means that you can work at that higher level. because you no longer have to put the hours in to get the same amount of work done, because you're sharper, you're more focused, your concentration's better. You can make decisions better because you know what the answer is without having to second guess yourself, because all of a sudden you've got the things like brain fog going on. So that's a kind of second element of it, how we can really kind of drive that. And the third one is when you start to look at people's life and lifestyles, we've got to remember, most people, they will be doing the job they do for a few reasons. One is, survival. It's how do you actually put food on the table, keep a shelter over the head. The next part then is actually the enjoyment factor of it. So most people would love to be in a job where actually they're enjoying what they're doing and they can feel satisfied that they're doing something that contributes to the greater good, that actually is something that's worthwhile doing. And when you can start to show people how those kind of linkages are working, then all of a sudden people have a real good value for coming to work. But again, that's the other thing that I'm seeing at the moment in society, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but it almost feels like, certainly with a lot of things that are on television stuff, sitcoms and stuff, there's an expectation that you have to hate work. You have to hate going into your job and things. It's like, I went and had a crap day at work, and everyone's got to describe how crap their day at work. It's almost this one-upmanship, how bad is it? Oh, I'm dreading going in tomorrow and things. But the reality is it doesn't need to be like that. And let's face it, we spend more time working in our businesses or working in a job, for example, or on your career, than you will do potentially sleeping or actually with time with friends and family. And if that's the case, you need to make sure you're enjoying it. So find ways to be able to bring that enjoyment into it.
Absolutely. That's very insightful. Thank you. And Martin, you played a major role in my life in the last 3 years. You helped me get back on track with my health. You made me understand the importance of rest. And even though I'm a peak performance coach, I work with businesses and with top athletes. I wasn't taking care of my health. So with your support and with your mentoring, I managed to get back my body below the 80 kilo threshold. It was 86, and we made it go below the 80 kilo threshold. And I managed to put on my tailored suit when I got married, thanks to you. And now we need to start planning the new second quarter of the year on how we are going to work and tackle health and balance business. But I wanted to ask you this question. I know I've worked with you and things have been great, but somebody who is watching us or listening us right now, I want to ask you, why you? Why Martin Sharp? Why should someone get on to take care of their body? And potentially, why would you be the right fit? Just to play with your name.
I do like that name. So why would I be the right fit? So first of all, I am the right fit for some, but not for everybody. So that's the kind of first thing. And it's, you've got to find people that you resonate with, people that have inspired you, people that are going to push you. Because, sometimes you need a cuddle, sometimes you're going to need a kick. And it's finding that right person that you respect enough to be able to do that, has the knowledge to be able to bring you through it, and can help you be the shortcut, right? Because that's the reason why people use coaches, consultants, etc., is to get them from where they are at the moment, where they've got a problem, to where they want to be. And everyone needs them. And just like you were saying, you are an amazing mindset and performance coaches for businesses and professionals. But the one thing that is very difficult to do is actually to be your own coach. And I know this. I have coaches that are helping me at the moment with my running. I've got coaches that are helping me with regards to how we change nutrition for endurance side of things. So I'm not excluded from this. I also go out there and find people that are going to be able to help me be able to take the next level as where I want to go in my life. So being able to work with myself, if you find out I'm the right fit, I'm the kind of person who's going to be able to push you a little bit, be able to give you that knowledge, keep you motivated, etc., give you all the tools, the shortcuts. I've been there. I've seen the lion pits. I know where they all are, but I also know where the good bushes, where the great berries are. So being able to just quickly be able to shortcut and get into that position, that is the reason why someone would want to work with me. And I'm hoping from your experience, it's been both a pleasant and a challenging experience, not just one.
Absolutely, absolutely. And talking about challenges, as an expert of business and lifestyle performance, I want to ask you, 2025, what are the challenges you have set up for yourself?
So yeah, it's a good question. So you laid the gauntlet down with me last year. So when I was learning how to run, I mean, I'm not a runner. I wasn't a runner. Let's rephrase that. Because when I went to school, running was given to the kids that weren't very good at sport as a punishment, and I was one of those kids. So I don't have very good memories of running. Um, Kind of hate it. It's one thing that's always caused me pain over the years. And on top of that, I'm an asthmatic actually. So I have been hospitalized for not breathing. And I don't know about you, but breathing's one of my high priority items every day. so when my wife was thinking, okay, I'd like to do a 10K challenge last year and was umming and ahhing like she has done for the last 10 years, I kind of jumped in and said, look, I'll support you. I'll help you get it over. And then I kind of remembered all those things afterwards. So the first few weeks, months, yeah, it was definitely months, was very, very challenging. And I remember when my accountant challenged me to go do a park run, a 5K park run, and he said it's going to be good fun, you'll get great community, etc. And the first one I went to, I think it took me about 50 minutes to go around the course, and then took me another 35 minutes to be able to drive the car. So it wasn't fun at the beginning, but through perseverance and consistency and listening to people, I overcame the challenges. I found a great guy who talked about, breathing and how you deal breathing when you're an asthmatic and you're running. And that really kind of helped me. And then setting up, new ideas about what it actually means for running. So again, changing the goalpost a little bit to actually fit what I want to do. So for me, running is all about, enjoying the process and finishing the run. That's it. I'm not looking for a time. I'm not looking for a pace. I'm not looking for a distance. Just those two really simple things. And yeah, we did the 10K run. And then Chris, who's a friend of ours, he and you mentioned Alka earlier as well. They were both doing the London Marathon last year. And your amazing wife as well. She was doing the London Marathon, but you never.
Yeah, incredible. She completed the Marathon of London last year.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So proud of her.
So you learned the gauntlet down saying, we should try doing that. So we applied, didn't get in, granted. But after that, Gabe, who's my coach for running, he said, well, why don't you come do the Milton Keynes Marathon with me, which is in the 5th of May this year. I thought, why not? That should be good fun. Let's do that. It's his birthday. It's a smaller event and things. So I signed up for that. And then after we did the 10K, the first 10K I've ever done, the organisers got back in touch, said, would you like to do the marathon in Leeds? And I was thinking, well, Leeds is my hometown. I've got all those horrible memories of running in Leeds. It'd be nice to create a nice memory. So I signed up for that, got in. So that was great. I probably should have looked at the date beforehand, because that's literally 1 week after the Milton Keynes Marathon. And then within the space of a few days after that, I got an email from Teenage Cancer Trust. And we've had, obviously, I've mentioned about my father and my uncle, but also my cousin's daughter, so my great niece, half niece. She developed Hodgkin's lymphoma at the age of 14 and then died when she was 19. And Teenage Cancer Trust was just amazing during that. So they got in touch, said, would you like to run in the London Marathon? And of course I had to say yes. But again, probably should have checked the dates out first, because that's the week before the Milton Keynes one. So I've got 3 marathons to do in 2 weeks. I've still not run a marathon yet. I've done marathon distance in training, so that's okay. So yeah, that's exciting. That comes up in this year in 2025. Also looking at towards the end of the year, trying to pull a team together to go up Mount Kilimanjaro. So again, trying to give people some bigger kind of goals, the big, hairy, audacious goals, BHAGs, as you hear in business, so that we can, just challenge people just to think that little bit further and push themselves that little bit more. Because, sometimes, just becoming better for yourself is hard. Looking at preventative reasons is hard. But as soon as you start to put some interesting goals inside for people, then suddenly it becomes a little bit more interesting.
Absolutely.
I always remember speaking to a marketing expert. They had like several billion billing, and he always said, people will pay anything for a cure, but they'll pay nothing for a prevention, which makes absolutely no sense to me. So for me, I'm trying to make sure people don't have to go through the pain and suffering, and try and come up with all the different ways that can help encourage them to make their life even better, whether that's become better in business, better in their own life, or actually achieve a life goal of something that they want to be able to do.
Wonderful, wonderful. Martin, this was really powerful and inspiring. And for those of you who are watching us right now, please share this if you know any business or anybody who is juggling between business and lifestyle and there's no balance and needs to have kind of a conversation of what we have just spoken right now, or share it, spread it, download it, go ahead, click the button and follow us. And please make sure you follow Martin Sharp from Sharp Fit. And before we leave, I have one more question for you, Martin. But I want to ask you, to the audience who's listening to us right now, what can you offer them? What can you give them? How can you support them further? That doesn't stop from this podcast, but they can reach out to you and they can get your insights, your support, and your guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if you want to get in touch or even just want to follow us, just follow Sharp Fit for Life. It's on all the socials. You'll find it from there. But for everybody who's actually listening to this, then if you'd like to just discuss this further, see how you can perform better in business and in life, then why don't you book yourself a consultation call with me? And what we'll do is we'll go through and just see, what it could be to take those next steps. What's the kind of next thing that you need to do in your life to actually be able to achieve that great goal, that great outcome, that great aspiration that you've got. Maybe that thing that's just been that little bit more elusive these days.
Wonderful. And final question that I ask all my guests, and get ready because this question is this. Imagine you are right now Martin Sharp, right now, today, okay? Present today. But I want you to look at your left at the Martin of 8 years old, and then on your right, the Martin of 80 years old. And now I want you, very brief sentence, I want you to tell something from now, the Martin of today, say something to the Martin of 8 years old, and say something to the Martin of 80 years old. What would you tell them? With all the experience and all you've gone through in your life, now speak to the 8-year-old kid and the 80-year-old man. Go ahead.
So the 80-year-old Martin, I'll be saying, good on you. Well done for dropping your biological age by 30 years. I know you feel only 50. That's
Wow.
great. Keep walking up those mountains. Keep enjoying yourself. Keep having fun with your life. You're doing amazing well, my friend. And to the 8-year-old version, Martin, I'd just say, be good to yourself today so that you can be good for others tomorrow.
Wow, wonderful. And I believe that with this, we can drop uh, the pen and we can close this amazing podcast. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching or listening to E2E, where we bring you the world's best experts to serve you, to give you value, to give you insights. Please go ahead, comment, share, and engage with Martin Sharp. He's going to be one of our regular guests, and we will bring him again for other topics or other insights for us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening. And for now, please go out there and do the best out of what you have listened today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Martin, for being with us, and see you next time. Ciao.
You're welcome. Bye-bye for now.